Hey guys, this is Tyler here. It is October 10th, and I'm just going to talk to everyone why, as a younger MGTOW guy, you should have a second passport or second residency. Okay, as countries change and evolve, there's been lots of changes happening over the past 5 to 10 years. And countries have also changed dramatically, and first world countries is especially where we see these changes happening so quickly at the moment. People who are from these Western countries such as US and Canada now are really experiencing the challenges and difficulties of having one of these kind of passports. It's actually became more of an issue, I think, for these men now than a benefit, and that's why more and more younger people are looking at other countries to obtain a second passport or at least a residency. I would highly encourage people, if they can, whether it's through a parent, it's through studies or work, to look at what their options are, easy options are, to obtain a second passport. If there's no easy options, you're going to have to look at the more difficult options, which often means through investment, through living long-term in a country, maybe setting up a business. There's different options here. By having a second passport, ultimately you'll have insurance for your future, because it's like a MGTOW guy, you value freedom, you value having benefits of being in a truly free society. And as we're experiencing right now, we're seeing that first world countries aren't as free as people thought they were, and liberties are literally being restricted by the week, by the month in these places. And it's often very safe to have a second passport that can give you insurance in these situations. You can go to this country and live if you have to long term. You could have bank accounts in these countries. You have redundancy plan to ensure that you don't have major issues and complications in that country in the future. We look at when the Soviet Union collapsed in the late 1980s, many of these people were totally in a really terrible predicament. They didn't have any insurance plan here, and they were down and out. There really was nothing they could do unless they had left prior and had a home somewhere else. They had obtained a passport in a second country. It's very important here for people who want freedom. Also understand, in some of these first world countries, the restrictions on travel, living elsewhere, on simply obtaining a second passport could become more obtrusive in the future. This could become more of an obstacle to deal with. So doing it now, sooner than later, will give you huge insurance in the long run. And it also could become extremely expensive when more and more people want to leave countries like America and Canada. Countries can really increase the rates so that potentially only very wealthy people from these places could live there, could get a second passport. So that's why you want to do it sooner than later. You could also implement a trifecta plan, as Andrew Henderson from Nomad Capitalists talk about, and have 3 different residencies. You could have your home country, your home base. You could have another larger country, and then a small country like a Caribbean island. This would be a way to do it. And also in this option, you could renounce your home citizenship if needed. If you were from America or Canada and were tired of the huge tax regime, the IRS, you could renounce your home citizenship like in America. This is just the reality of the times that we live in. Also, if you're living mostly outside of your home country, as a MGTOW guy, do you really want to be paying taxes and supporting the system back home that you really don't benefit from? Is this really worth it? I don't think so. I think you want to keep most of your own money, and you want to contribute it to the causes that you believe in, the charitable causes you believe in. And also, if you decide to get married and have children, you also want a safe and secure future for those children and for your spouse. You don't want to be in a situation where you're totally in a terrible situation back in your home country because you didn't put a redundancy plan in place when you still could. And yes, it's often an expensive initial investment initially, but the investment early on will be well worth it if problems get really terrible in these other countries like US and Canada in the future, and you really have to leave at a moment's notice. MGTOWism stands for men going their own way. Certainly by going your own way, you're avoiding problems that could arise in your home country. You'll be giving yourself an insurance plan somewhere else. And it's becoming more of a situation also back at home where guys can't afford to buy real estate in their home markets, home countries. They have to rent. Maybe they have to live in an RV. There's all sorts of situations. And if you're the kind of person where you want to buy property, real estate in the country you're living in, this may be a good option. Go live in a country, acquire citizenship, and then you can actually afford the property or real estate in that country. The other benefit too is that you probably be able to speak the language of the country that you came from. You perhaps may be able to speak the language of the country you went to. So if you're in a situation for work, you could perhaps still make an income via the country that you came from if you had some kind of digital or remote job. There's different scenarios here, but ultimately you're giving yourself more freedom, and by having a second passport, you're keeping more factors in your hands. You have more control over your situation, and you're not giving control over to other entities, to governments. You'll actually be able to make decisions on the fly if you need to. Having control over your life is, I think, a big part of MGTOWism, being able to dictate how and when and what you want to do with your life, and having true freedom, not being under the constraint of a government or system. You'll be able to operate in the way that you see fit. Just understand that second citizenships or second residencies and or passports often require both time and or money, or both. So you're going to have to be willing to commit to one or the other or both of these. It's very common. For example, citizenship by investment programs can run between $200,000 to $2 million. And often on the lower side, it's going to be anywhere between $100,000 to $250,000. So this is a long-term investment if you're going through the CBI style of passport, but it will give you a long-term insurance plan. Just think of the payoff in the years and decades to come, how much that could save you. It could save your life if it gets really bad in some countries. Just keep that in mind here. And at the end of the day, a guy has to decide what type of place they want to live and what country or countries suit them. Figure that one out for yourself, and the younger the better. So you younger guys out there, get started on this sooner than later. It'll make life a lot easier. Give me your feedback below in this video, and thank you.